Gents, let's move on to the Currie Cup. Nice little curtain raiser before Saturday. Two fixtures on Friday night, Rob. Bulls Cheetahs is the only one that's being televised, though.
Yes, that's a great shame, Nick, because Pumas Western Province is a game that a lot of people will be looking forward to. Western Province have probably the biggest sort of neutral following, if you like, outside of the Western Cape. They always attract a crowd. Whenever you look at a Currie Cup game anywhere in South Africa, there are always plenty of people in those blue and white hoop jerseys, and I suspect the same will apply to Nelspruit Friday night. So a bit disappointing that that's not on the box, but it's a busy rugby weekend, I suppose. Plenty of other bigger business in some ways, but that game could be a real cracker. The Pumas still haven't been knocked over at Mbombela Stadium. Will be desperate also to just sort of stabilise a bit after a little bit of a wobble. They've rung the changes. Jimmy Stonehouse has kind of sort of hit the panic button a little bit, if you like. I think there are something like 7 squad changes or something. So and for a team that don't have that much depth, you sort of wonder whether the players coming in will make a big difference. I think Western Province will take quite a lot of interest and perhaps some heart from the fact that the Pumas have had to shake the bag a little bit. Province will go in with a pretty stable sort of side, and I think that they'll actually do the business. I think that they'll have enough firepower, especially with the brand of rugby that they play. And if conditions are nice and benign in Nelspruit, I think we could see a few tries, and I think most of those tries will go to Western Province.
Okay. Garen, we called the Bulls result wrong last week. You think their season's all but lost?
I think it is. They were pretty woeful at times against the Sharks last weekend. Even though up front they seemed to dominate, they were pretty clueless, if you like, out wide in the back line. So the Sharks capitalised there. And now they're having to travel down to Bloemfontein to take on the Free State Cheetahs. I think the Bulls have to win every single game remaining of their 3 remaining games, and I still think that might not even be enough if other results don't go their way. The Cheetahs also outside the top 4, so there's a lot to play for in this game. I think this is going to be perhaps the closest game on paper this weekend. It's pretty tough to call. I think the home side Cheetahs is going to sway my vote, but it's going to be by a couple of points at most, I think. The Cheetahs, they started woefully this season. They have certainly got a little bit better, but not enough to sort of get them into the top 4 with only 3 matches of the 10 remaining. So, hopefully one of these teams will jump into the top 4 depending on other results this weekend. But I think the home side are just going to squeak it, but it could be ugly rugby. I don't see them spinning the ball out wide too often. They're going to try and get those 4 points and move on. But I'm going to go with the Cheetahs by about 3.
Okay, moving on to Saturday's 2 fixtures again. Strange scheduling. You got the Sharks, Eastern Province at 2, Griquas Lions at 3, but Sharks is the game that's being televised.
Yeah, Sharks EP. There's 2 games, early kickoffs. For the Bok game at 5 o'clock, so as not to clash with that. But Sharks EP haven't got a win this season. They certainly won't beat the Sharks in Durban. Sharks played a lot better last weekend against the Bulls. This game could even blow out a little bit. I see EP have got their 3rd different captain this season already. The Sharks by as many as 25 in my book. So the EP winners streak certainly to continue, which is not great for them. Obviously they're building towards Super Rugby in a couple of years' time, and their season's just going to get worse and worse, I fear, after this weekend.
Rob, Griquas, we know how unpredictable, dangerous they can be at home. Lions might find it tough going there.
Yes, they might. Having said that, of course, the one thing that the Lions will take to Kimberley is the psychological sort of knowledge that they've got a big, strong physical pack. Griquas try to sort of bully opponents when they go to Kimberley, but the Lions aren't really a team who will take a step back. Johan Ackerman was in his playing days was sort of no frills, uncompromising sort of character, and he's drummed those sort of ethics into his side. Even though he's, to his eternal credit, has had to work with at least on paper, not exactly the biggest bunch of names, but he's turned them into a really cohesive pack. They have got a couple of injuries. I see that that they've had problems still in their front row. They've still got Julian Redlinghuis struggling with injury. Skalk van der Merwe, the loosehead proper, who's been very prolific as a ball carrier and as a scrummager, has been struggling as well. So they're a little bit down on that front. But having said that, they have this uncanny knack of sort of suddenly just producing somebody else who manages to step up quite well. And I still think that their pack is capable of dominating Griquas, and as a result, will probably get them over the line. I think Griquas' semi-final hopes are fading quite fast now. They're also, they're still a little bit clear of the EP Kings down at the bottom of the table, but they're also down in those nether regions, and I think that situation will continue this weekend.